Well, hey everybody, it's Steve McRae, the host of the Great Debate Community, and it is 10:30 Pacific time, my time. I'm working on a different operating system. As you guys know, I have actually two operating systems on my machine, one of them which is Linux, and I'm actually using Ubuntu Studio, but I'm using a low latency kernel that supposedly should help resolve some of the issues I had before when I tried doing Google Hangouts, and I've adjusted everything, and my CPU usage is good, my memory is good, everything is looking really fine as far as audio, but I kind of want to use this format from now on if it's working well. There was a debate going on at 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern. That's going to be King Crocoduck versus Wayne Fillmore. The topic is, has God revealed himself to mankind? And I would like to use this operating system. The reason being is because when I'm doing these things on Windows, it's quite slow. I'm kind of unable to use Google and do other things. And that's just a thing with the dual core system. It's okay. So yeah, Linux, whatever you want to call it. So let me know how the audio is. I see a couple people in the live feed. Can you let me know? I'm going to see it's breaking up on my end a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody in here where I can test it out because, well, nobody's joined me yet. The link to join is in the video description. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. It's at the G Plus page. But the problem I was having before was that it would just all of a sudden stop and I wouldn't hear anything. And I don't know if it was just my end or it was a problem with the kernel. And I think it just did it once, but I can't really tell. Until somebody comes in here and starts talking, I don't know. So I don't know if you can still hear me when that happens. It's doing it again. I don't see little things moving. So it might actually just pause. And if that's the case, I need to figure out maybe how to change my latency even more so I'm not having those dropouts. Because right now I couldn't do a debate with those dropouts if that's what's happening. But again, nobody's giving me in the feedback in the live chat because I kind of want to do this. Yeah, see, and Nathan says I keep cutting out. So I kind of want to do this Calc product and chain rule part 2, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it this format yet until I figure out how to keep these dropouts from happening. How long is the dropout for, Nathan? Just let me know between cut out twice so far. And you know what? See, I noticed that twice is what I've seen too. So anybody have suggestions of how to eliminate those dropouts? I can do it through OBS, right? I can drop actually the frame rate and I also drop the bit rate. But here it's nothing I can really tweak on that. Again, the low latency kernel is supposed to emphasize the transmission so I don't have those dropouts, and it is better than it was before. The first time I tried this Ubuntu Studio, I was getting the dropouts, but they were all the time, like literally like 3 seconds I'd get one, then another 3 seconds. Here I've only experienced 2 so far, but still that's too many when you're not speaking for 2 or 3 seconds, right? 2 to 5 seconds. So anybody that knows some Linux, let me know. I kind of still want to do this Hangout, but I'm probably going to have to go back to Windows to do it, obviously, which is unfortunate because, again, when I'm broadcasting, you use it faster. When I'm speaking like this, I can actually type and it doesn't get slow using the Linux kernel. So I will work on it. I'll figure it out. But unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to do Calc 1 product and chain rule part 2 with this type of thing. Would you guys agree? Or is it, I mean, if I only dropped out twice, 3 times. Okay, yeah, I've dropped out 3 times. So, gosh darn it, that kind of sucks because I only got like an hour to do this because of the debate coming up. So, yeah, damn it. Well, I'm just gonna have to try something else. But do you guys want to have this? It'll probably be a 3-parter because again, chain rule is not something that's simple and there's a lot to it. Do you guys want me to just do this to, part 2 and then maybe do the part 3 afterwards? Because I still got to do the quotient rule. But you guys up for a math hangout this morning or just say screw it? What do you think, Nathan? Oh, this is an AMD processor. It's only a dual core. It's not a quad core, which makes a big difference. But Well, it's a dual core. That is multi-core, but it would help if it had a quad core. Right? The quad core system I had, my other roommate's using. This one's a good system, but it's not really designed for this. And when I got it, somebody bought it for me and donated it. I didn't utilize it, and I mean, it works great. Don't get me wrong, it's a great system, but there's little things like this where it drops out, and unless I can dedicate the specific core, which you can do in Linux, you can actually dedicate the core, but I don't know how to do that yet, right? So yeah, no, I mean, yeah, some people in their live feed going, yeah, dual core, I know, but you know, again, there is ways around this. I don't use it for much other stuff, so I mean, I only use it to get online and do video editing and Word document stuff. I don't use it for any heavy duty stuff. I don't have multiple tabs open or anything like that. So it works for that, but I know there's a way to dedicate a single core to like Google Hangouts, but I don't know how to do that in Linux. I know how to do that in Windows, right? You just set your affinity, but I don't know how to do it in Linux. I'm gonna have to look that up. So anyways, what do you guys think though? Do you guys want to do a Hangout on math or just say screw it and postpone it to later? This is only a test, I guess. So give me some feedback here. You guys interested in the chain rule? Kind of going over it because most of you guys probably forgot about it, but there's a lot to it because I still got to get into like implicit and explicit differentiation, right? We haven't even touched on the difference between explicit and implicit. We got a long ways to go before we start actually doing stuff like differential equations and explaining the difference between, you know, ODEs and PDEs and first order, second order, and homogeneous and non-homogeneous, right? So somebody says we need to get Steve a Ryzen processor. Yeah, well, no, I don't want anybody. I don't want. Trust me, this computer was donated to me from somebody who spent a lot of money on it. Well, to me, it's a lot of money, and I don't need another system, right? So I'm not. I'm fine. It's just I got to figure out how to do this, right? It's not the system per se. It's just that I need to figure out how to Linux to set the affinities so it just uses one quad core. Well, excuse me, one of the dual cores. And I know there's a way to do it. I know there is. So
did I miss anything?
No, yeah, but here's the thing. See, this is just Google Hangouts. People that actually run the code for Google Hangouts do it on a Linux system. So I know it's possible. I don't know why I keep dropping out. So you want to do this Hangout, but I'm gonna have to switch over to my Windows to do it. This is just a test, and I'll continue it over on the next Hangout.
Oh well, yeah. I figured, you know, I saw that you were doing this. I was like, is he doing this now? I was like freaking out.
You only got about an hour. Okay, so let me end this broadcast, guys. I'll just keep this as a test, and then I'll get back on Windows. And well, I'll start Nathan says better do it when you have a reliable Hangout going. Well, I'll get back on my Windows. I'll just do part 2, and then part 3 will continue on the chain rule and the quotient rule, probably, or at least I'll get in the basics of the chain rule, and then I've actually gotten. I'm doing another presentation where I have problems with the chain rule, and then we'll go through it and do step by step. And then sometime next week, I'll explain implicit differentiation as opposed to explicit differentiation, and then get into differential equations. So, all right, so I'm going to end this. I'm going to set up a new Hangout. I'll spend about an hour on that, and we'll get going. So see you in a second.